everyone, and welcome back. Today we are going to be replaying some of our matches. We're going to be replaying our deck that we've had the most success with, is what I was trying to say. But recently with the Yawgmoth Bats, this kind of very specific version of the bat deck that I have been playing, I have had a very incredibly high win rate with the deck, and it's been just kind of fitting my playstyle pretty well. Sometimes I make some misplays, but regardless, I've been winning a lot with it, and so we're going to reapproach it and see if we can make it just a little bit better, or try out some things that we might want to be splashing in the deck that might help cover some of the kind of weaknesses, or just help us win some of the matchups that we're already trying to win. And to start it off, one of the cuts that we made is we trimmed down on a cut down to try out this figure to see if this isn't just better. The main reason for this is to make mono red hit a little less hard if we get blown out trying to cut down something. For example, with the duelists and whatnot, when they die, they end up doing damage. But if we use a disc figure, if it dies, most likely it'll deal no damage. Unless they put like one of the swords on it or something, it'll deal a little bit damage, but less, instead of us cut downing it, for example, if we even can at that point, or go for the throating it. The other thing that we end up putting in here to try out is Tomic. I like this card a lot. I've had a lot of success with it in the past playing Yawgmoth decks, and I kind of just wanted to try it here. I think it's very nice to have another kind of flying vigilance creature that Season of the Burrow can bring back with Indestructible, especially when it does have a inherent tax on our opponent whenever they attack with creatures. If two or more of those creatures are attacking you or planeswalkers, we get to make our opponent lose 3 life, and we draw a card, so it can help put cards back in our hand. It can attack our opponent a little bit, and then also draw us cards if need be. And with Sheoldred, I've found in the past Tomic and Sheoldred are like this really whack kind of duo that work very well, where Sheoldred is just taxing them for their turns, and if they try to close the game, Tomic also taxes them for that with a lot of damage, so it's very cool. But with our deck, mainly just a quick rundown of it before we just hop into the games. We are primarily the most mid-range decks of mid-range. We kind of cap out at that 5 to 6 mana slot. Sometimes we'll play Virtue, but not very often. We realistically want to be casting a 5 mana spell, or casting 2 3 mana spells, or kind of some combination of such, where we cast 3 mana spell or a 2 mana spell, or a 5 mana spell and a 1 mana spell, kind of something in between there if need be. And the best cards that we have in terms of like closing the game is getting Zoraline online along with the Sheoldred or Beza with a Virtue in play. If Virtue's in play, a lot of times we are closing the game very, very quickly, as a lot of our creatures are very hard or awkward to remove. Some cheap mana, some cheap spells, like for example Cut Down, doesn't remove a whole lot from our deck because either the power and toughness together are too high, or we just play too low of power creatures like Deep-Cavern Bat. We don't play that many of these, is what I'm trying to say. That Cut Down gets a lot of value, or even like Elspeth Smites can't necessarily get the Preachers off the battlefield because of the 4 toughness, or Torches can't necessarily get them off the battlefield either because of that 4 toughness or 5 toughness like these have. And when a Virtue's online, they become unremovable by damage effects. And then we have a Season of the Burrow. This is basically what I've talked about as kind of our catch-all card. This card protects us from mostly anything that we need. It can get us back in the game or set us up to win the game, and it's just kind of been a card that's blown me away in the past, so we're going to continue to keep playing it. I do think 3 might be a bit too many. You don't want to draw this too often. You kind of want to draw it when you're able to do it or get a lot of value out of it, and it makes it kind of polarizing when you do get to do that. So outside of that, we're going to go ahead and hop into the game, see if we can't continue our win streak kind of with this deck, or at least our 5 to 1 win to loss ratio that we have so far with this deck, and hop out there in game. If you all enjoy my content, please consider subscribing. Other than that, again, let's just go play and see if we can't continue to win. Go first. Our hand's pretty solid. I mean, kind of solid. It's a little bit weird. Like, this could be good in theory, but we're just looking for mana or like good solid foundation spells. Foundation, like the set. Haha. Ooh, case. Interesting indeed. Play land. Let's pass. We're gonna have to use this to kill a bat or 2. I know how little bats can be. That one's a little bit tougher, but we have a Liliana to get rid of it. Second case, most likely should bin it, but the keep, I mean, it makes sense to keep, but a little bit weird. It helps trigger your case, so, or like solve your case, I guess. So I get having the second one, right? But here comes case. Here comes Amalia number 2. Ooh. Well, here's a weird part. That doesn't work. That doesn't work. That actually does work. Ooh, we get to do a cool play. Now, what am I going to get rid of? Do I even get rid of anything? Well, their hand's pretty thin. I probably should. Let us get rid of, at this point, I guess Virtue's probably fine. Probably could have done the math, make sure this worked, but I'm pretty positive. 3 to 2, cut down. Get rid of the lot, and then we can establish a Sheoldred next turn. Maybe even Season the Burrow if we hit a land. There's a Welcome. That's not good. We do hit a land though. A little part of me is like, dude, I can make 5 lands here, or 5 1/1s here. I have nothing to reanimate. I have 2 cards in hand. The Welcome's pretty strong. Maybe I just hold the Lily. I think I do just hold Lily. Just don't plus here. Just wait till next turn, then maybe use this as kind of like an exile effect. Because now if they put a creature into play and they draw off the Welcome, it's not like it's great. Because I mean, I guess the cases neutralize it, right? So it's weird. But our Sheoldred can get aggressive, that's for sure, in this match. Don't have... Oh no. We're getting comboed. I could have died next turn. Or close if they would have played like a Delaney or something. But now the case is solved. The case is solved. The cases are solved. I could just season exile both. Doesn't seem like a great plan. I can attack for 4. Seems like okay. I can plus and let the go for the throat go. And it would take the last card. They activate the case. Like these graveyards are good. The Molly and Chandler coming in would just be really devastating. Huh. Interesting. The combat. The game gets weird. Welcome's really strong. I almost need to season exile the cases. That's the problem here. Like, is 2 spells worth it? One, 2. And if I plus here, I get their last card, I guess. Well, I don't now, right? So I should just minus. Sheoldred, peel them. We'll minus, and then we can go for the throw with their last creature if it works. But with the case is gone now, they don't get access to their graveyard and 2 really strong cards at that, like an Amalia and the Essence. Then it would also draw them another card. There's an Essence. They'll draw, they'll take 2. This is where Sheoldred's good, because without the sagas or whatever they are, these cases, I don't know, there's like 18 different ones. Yeah, these are cases. Without the cases, you can't really do much. That can't block anyway, so why do much else? Sheoldred's here. I'll now play this. I have a go for the throat, so I can always respond to something. Sheoldred's going in. If they block, we'll figure it out from there. We hit for a ton. We'll draw a card. Ooh, 2 cards in hand in the Deep-Cavern Bat. No Delaney, no... Guess I could just play this Deep-Cavern Bat, and if it's bad, I can just block the cleric. Put 1/1 counter on each creature. Yeah, those aren't that great. If I played my Virtue, those would be good. That's copy number 3? That's 3 copies, my guy. Okay. They gain 1. They gain drain, do some nonsense. They lose some life, and now that has flying. They lose more life. They're down to 6. Now, what? I'll block this Deep-Cavern Bat. It's fun. Okay, I won't block that though. Alright. 2 go for the throat. It's actually devastating here for our opponent. I think that might actually be I think that might be what actually buries them here. Okay. All right. Opponent goes first. Our hand's close. We do struggle a little bit against just straight aggro here. Could be a Zorius, could be Orzhov, depending on what our opponent's doing. I'm just going to go ahead and crack this, put a white source into play regardless. All today. Now I'll grab my swamp, and then I'll virtue something or go for the throat something. If they're the snake deck, we just let them put the snake into play, and with trigger on a stack, we go for a throat it. But it looks like it might be a Zorius Convoke, mono white tokens control. There's a lot of things this could be. We can definitely take a look at their hand and get hit with a removal spell when Deep-Cavern Bat looks, but at least we can look and see. If it's a hard removal spell, that means our Zoralines have better chances of resolving and sticking around. We'll take a look. Spring-loaded trap, so I don't ever really have to attack. I can make this card pretty bad. This card in general sucks, so I'll take that. A lot of artifacts makes playing this game pretty tough here. So with that taken, they go ahead and sack the clue. Not even giving themselves a chance that maybe I'd attack with Deep-Cavern Bat, you know? Now land enters. I can now play land. I can now virtue, kite sail, turn my Deep-Cavern Bat into a treasure. Which, just so everybody's aware in case they don't, it actually still keeps the card and now is like weirdly more protected. Is ward 1 or 2? Ward 1? I'm not gonna lie, I don't even care. It's like, what do they attach it to? And also just Deep-Cavern Bat them again. But I can do that after I Zoraline. I can virtue a creature. I can Beza. Beza's pretty bad here. I'd much rather wait. Steel Seraph I need my virtue for, so I guess I'll pass. Virtue will be for this whenever they play it for 3 here. And then I'll go for the throat to kite sail. They give me that opportunity. Yeah. Alright, it's off the ward 1. I'll auto pay. And I have a Deep-Cavern Bat, which I'm not going to block with. Probably didn't really care to wait. Now they have spring-loaded traps that they're like, ooh, look, I now have a creature in the way. Ooh. Now I can Deep-Cavern Bat them again. Or I can play Zoraline and Deep-Cavern Bat them after. Or I can play a Preacher. This is a lot of damage, though. Bat. Let's take a look. We do need to hit land. Especially if they play this other land, then Beza gets really, really strong. I'll just force them to play their spells. They top deck spring-loaded trap, so be it. I believe it's tapped creature. Doesn't really matter. Oh wait, it is tapped creature. It's not attacking creature. I've played around Ganja for so long, my brain can't think otherwise. So actually, Zoraline dodges that. So super sick here. And look at them. They're gonna hard play their. Steel Seraph. If that's the case, I can just put in a Death Toucher. Call it a day. Here's my Death Toucher. Enjoy. Lyrics doesn't matter too much. Realistically, if we start hitting lands, this game should not be that close. Especially if we find a virtue. But not the virtue of persistence in our hand, by the way. A different virtue. Given that flying, you going the poison route here? Sure. I'm at 18. My creature draws. Like Gix would make it draw more, but most likely they'll block here. Alright, it's off. Keep digging for lands. Keep digging for lands. Keep digging for lands. Keep digging for lands. I'll just play this one. And now find me a flyer, I suppose. Now I have a body blocker. They have a lot of lands. They can give a creature flying. I can block with Zoraline. No. I'll take it. 20. Can I draw land? Please. I'm 16 cards deep on 3 lands. And I'm doing things to draw them. That's like the craziest part of the whole bit. Not like I'm not doing stuff. Yes. I don't know, maybe they'll find another spring-loaded trap. I'm not going to attack my bats. Fine. What do we got? To take it, okay. Play another preacher, I guess. Zoraline just sits here, blocks. This game is really panned out to just be like a whack game because I can't find lands. But my opponent, if you want to give me lands from your deck, I'll take them. I'll trade you 3 lands for 3 cards almost. It might even be worth the trade. So they're going for Steel Seraph. They know their win condition in this game. Well, I might have to block, although leaving the Inspector around seems whack. Could block with my Deep-Cavern Bat that has the spring-loaded trap in it, and they could use it on my Preacher, I suppose, but then I attack with Zoraline to get my bat back and take their card. Yeah, I'm not like opposed to that. Sure. This affects my life total, and again, Zoraline can bring my Deep-Cavern Bat back and take their card. Most likely they'll fire it off on my Preacher anyway. They had plenty of artifacts, by the way, so before we think that this is going to be a problem, they could put it on a ton of artifacts that they've had. A craft? Craft with an artifact. They have those in play. But then it's going to cause, like, creatures to be tapped, I suppose. But that also doesn't have flying, but I guess they can give it flying. And it's a 5/5. But until I can answer it in the Steel Seraph anyway, I don't really have a whole lot going on. To draw a land or to not draw a land, I have no idea what the answer is. The most absurd game I've played in a while. Where my opponent, like, just has every land in the book. And I just can't seem to find one. We double attack here because we're wanting to make contact and draw cards. To find lands to, like, win this game. Honestly, Zoraline can even also block the Steel Seraph at this point. Because of the way it'll work. Please. Nope. Okay. Sure. I'm almost 20 cards deep and I can't find a 4th land. Arena, come on now. I understand you like cruel jokes, but this is getting ridiculous. And I'm getting tilted about it. But like, bro. My opponent's playing Novice Inspectors. Like, I have so many strong cards in my hand. I just can't apparently get to play them. Lifelink. That's fine. I'll take 6. At this point, I don't know. I have some lifelink creatures that can attack just if I need them to. Or she would be super sick if I could get that to happen, but it's just not seeming like it's going to. Do they know that their Merrick's tokens count? Oh, they figured it out this time, I think. I was like, it matters. Like, you can do that. Holy cow, chat. We found a land. Isn't this a crazy game now? But now their plans to give that flying. I can't answer the Steel Seraph, dude. This is pretty good. They have more mana than me. So I'll play it, I guess? Sure, I'll take 1 more damage. Why not? I'll make a treasure, which is sweet. We're going to really have to rely on this season to exile this. And then, I don't know, something else. Attack here. Attack here. Attack. Attack with this? Because, like, Sure, they might not be able to block, but I have plenty of blockers. I just need to really gain the life. And plus, I'll make another blocker. Obviously, can't pay that tax. We'll gain a life. Preacher made their blocker. Now, if they bring up that vehicle to block my Preacher, fantastic. Sure. I'll take the trade any day, even though when Steel Seraph can... Ooh, I mean, I guess I'm being empty-handed's a problem, huh? Kind of surprised by this. I figured they wouldn't bring out the Chariot like that. Gix. With the Chariot gone, I almost want to draw with the Gix. Oh, yeah. Now time to draw 17 lands in a row. Let's go, chat. All the lands. Where do we have? They sacked that. Okay. Honestly, like, I would have been fine if I didn't hit lands, if my opponent would have just, like, killed me, right? Like, that's the thing that's so annoying about this game so far. Is like, they hit so many lands that they couldn't kill me. That it was smarter for them to wait to play this as a huge creature against me than a small one. And then I just couldn't find lands to just, like, press my advantage while they were just playing dorks. We'll try. And that card's good. That card's also hard to answer. Can I reanimate Deep-Cavern Bat? I guess here I should probably block with Zoraline. Or do I just take the 6? Block this 2/2? It's like weird because I get to take a creature out. But a little part of me wanted to block here so I can reanimate it. As long as I thin off their board, I'm not that opposed to really what happens. Now I can season. Got a pump spell or something? What is happening? Okay, the damage happens, sure. I think there's another spring load trap in hand. Take out my Deep-Cavern Bat. Liliana's sick too. Alright, sweet. Well, now we're trying to game. Now we're trying to do it, chat. Oh, move to combat. Alright, I will not move to combat. I will exile permanent. Or return a permanent. I will exile target non-land permanent. I will exile this one. And I'll return a indestructible Deep-Cavern Bat as my flyer. Okay. Wouldn't use the treasure either. I'd pay me to 4. Best part about Deep-Cavern Bat coming back and them drawing that card is Deep-Cavern Bat triggers after they draw the card. I get to look. Who have? Get lost and a schooner. Lost, I'll take. I'll attack here. And that's about it. We slowly gotta try to win this game somehow. We are at kind of a vulnerable life total. I will decline the draw here. I'll make another token. I have a lot of blocks. Schooner can't necessarily attack me. Okay. Looks like they have an answer for my Deep-Cavern Bat. Sure. Makes sense. Now they can attach that to a artifact they have. A Deep-Cavern Bat can block these permanently because that's indestructible. And my opponent now realizing that no matter what size creature they have, unless it has trample, I can't lose. So very cool. We win that game. And we'll move on and call it a day. We'll go first. We'll keep. I couldn't maul, but like I have a couple 2-mana plays. They're fine. I'll just go ahead and grab my black source now. Wait. Oh, I guess maybe play cave. Cycle with the virtue would have probably been the best play, but we'll see. They have to kind of take my shepherd, or they just lose their creature. I could play preacher, dodge and cut down. I could play turmeric, dodge and cut down. I guess I can play this and then it'll be able to block the flyer, I suppose. It also has vigilance. Preacher's really good though. Kind of wanted to play the preacher. We'll see. Go for the throat most likely. I guess that's the other reason maybe playing the creature we played now is a bit better, but also if I can get to Season of Burrow, giving a 2/4 indestructible has proven to be pretty good in the past. Especially a flying vigilance creature. Now I can... Ooh, that's actually a really good play. Activate. Get a plains. Play Liliana. Gotta pause what I was listening to. My opponent also kind of just not playing the game. I know what's going on. I'd like to put a Liliana on this deck though. I'd like to minus here. I'll take my virtue back. They prioritized taking virtue earlier over a lot of things, so we'll see. There's a Sheoldred. Oh no. Oh. Pretty sick. I would like to exile said Sheoldred, and I'd like to return my creature with indestructible. Thank you. I just realized that is one of the few things that don't say one of the few things that don't say non-land. It can return a land. That's weird. I just never look at the lands. Oh, well, okay. Sure. Can't beat a 2/4 vigilance flying indestructible creature. Go first. Very cool. Our hands like solid. I don't really want to wait to see what our opponent's on. I'll let that land go. Our hand curves out right now as is, and when it rains it pours, and I draw all 4 caves, so sure, that's fine. Get pinged one. Another land. It's pouring. All right. Zoraline will come in. I obviously can't activate it. Please stop asking me to activate it. I can't do it. I don't have the manas. They have a torch, if that wasn't clear enough. Pause there, and now the okay. Sure. Alright, there's a Gix. Gix is actually really solid here. Honestly, it'll probably make them remove Gix instead. Let's activate it. Then I can play another land. Sure. Sure indeed. Play Surveillance. Creature's fine. I'll just take anything other than the land at this point. What we got? Interesting. Just to torch my Gix? You hate Gix that much? Sure. On top? Alright. Probably Urbash Forge or land to get this in play. So now, do I play the Sheoldred? Do I play the Preacher? It's definitely to opt for the Sheoldred, because then now I can do this. But also, it's like I can play Preacher and cast Go for the third next turn. Another land. At least there's a land on top. It came when I activated a map instead of anything else. So I don't have to necessarily do much else. Now my 4/5 can hit. I can deal more damage when they draw. I think their plan was to play the Virtue here on an empty board. Hopefully, maybe they have Sunfall, which is going to make me not want to play another creature. Caretaker's Talent. Wowzers. That's a cool card. Ooh, I found a cool card actually. So now I will surveil. He's in the Burrow. Fantastic card. No demo field to make me shuffle away. I can make Sheoldred larger when I hit here. This one to this one. Because we know what our top card is. Maybe they'll decide to change plan. But I also have been seeing Spring-Loaded Trap being played in a lot of these decks. I don't really want to overcommit with my Sheoldred. Case the caretaker's talent is a little bit awkward because if they draw more cards with Sheoldred in play, they don't really find a lot of value in that. Because the Burrow is really good. I can bring Zoraline back, especially if they Sunfall my Sheoldred. So it's a little bit interesting. We'll see. We will see. They're definitely not in an easy spot. Alright. They have elected to pass. Get the end step. I'm going to cycle here. If their plan is to make a fish, I will go for the throw that fish out of the way. And they'll draw because a token will enter. And they're basically going to die to their own effects. Which is wild. So I'll move to combat. If the fish is, of course, their plan. They'll take one for the fish. They'll draw, taking 3. Kind of doing what they have to do. And then I will just let them know I have to go for the throat. Now they'll draw off this. They'll go to 9. And then they'll get hit for 7. And then they'll die on their upkeep unless they have a Lightning Helix. Actually, I could just season the Burrow, exile this, and force them to draw a card. And then they're pretty much dead regardless. So, very cool. We win the game. Go first. I mean, a lot of removal into an Aclazotz seems pretty good. A little bit of deck thinning if need be. If we decide that flooding's the option. By we decide, I mean Arena decides. On a red. Okay. I can remove that immediately, which is nice. Deep-Cavern Bat's a good source whenever they have 5. I don't even think I want to take the risk here. I think I just want to get rid of this immediately. I'll take my 1. Then we'll have go for the throw held up. Honestly, next available chance, I'm just going to crack this Fable Pass. It's not like they don't know what I'm on. Flick Shot buying us time, actually, which is sick. This means we have to go for the throw ready. Put in the swamp. We will rip a Courtyard, which is super good for us. And now I can opt for a Deep-Cavern Bat. I can let them play Slick Shot, see if they do anything crazy with it. 2 mana, maybe? Means we're pretty far from lethal here. Then, depending on what happens, if they go all in, maybe thinking they have to, I'll allow this to happen in a clip. Of course, we have kind of like an answer to this. Now they have an opportunity to make another call. Maybe they will. I'm going for throating this anyway. I'm not taking all this damage, and with that on the stack, we'll go ahead and remove it and just not waste time seeing if the trigger won't go on the stack to equip at that point. And now the bat's good, but I'll cast Deep-Cavern Bat and seeing if they have another threat in hand. If not, I'll take the best card, and it'll be that one because that does draw them another card. If they play another creature and then equip an item to it, I can just Legion that creature. Just any permanent. It is. I could also just exile these. Cool. Comes Zoraline. I can attack with my Deep-Cavern Bat, and Deep-Cavern Bat will then essentially gain us 2 life. Attack. Because now it'll gain a life off the bat attacking, and then this obviously has lifelink, so I can do it as well. They go Lightning Strike my Zoraline, which is fine. I'll hit. My life gain is just important enough there. If I find a land, Aclazotz should be the deciding factor that ends this game. If I had another land, I would maybe make a treasure, obviously, but we don't, so we opt for Zoraline. They opt for Lightning Strike again. Oh, what if we just go back and forth? Me play Zoraline, they play Lightning Strike. Back. And life. And the reason they have to get rid of this is because if they get rid of my Deep-Cavern Bat, I can always bring it back. Alright, sure. That makes sense. It now has Trample. Hit. That's the other reason to take this, by the way, because it does just have the clause of draw a card. There's a creature. I have a virtue for that. I have anything good in here? I do not. Okay. At least not good enough that I want to play it. Combat hack, and my opponent says they had enough. Makes sense. The first creature they found, I removed it, which kind of implies that most of my hand, when I'm not hitting lands, is just going to be removal. So, very sick. Very cool. You win. Who goes first? Okay. Sure. 3. Honestly, the mana base doesn't get any more perfect than that. But we'll play this. Hopefully, maybe Slick Shot goes into the zone. Ooh. Don't end a turn. It is a little weird to go for it now, I guess, considering like they won't get their spell. But I get it because obviously, I get it because of how this works. Obviously, I'll pass. Sure, they'll get more value. Hopefully, it's just not a creature. They target it, I suppose. Ooh, that's a draw effect. Prowess. See what this hits. It's a land. Go for the removal because this does draw a card. I'd like to fizzle that spell. Because I'd rather remove this and make them draw off to Ruckus instead of drawing off to Might of the Meek. And hopefully they were just like a low threat hand, and that's what it seems to be thus far. So, no removal in hand. They didn't play anything for 2, so it kind of implies they got nothing. Go ahead and play Zoraline. A nice, good blocker here, potentially. Were we a 1-threader? Monster, or that Swiss Spear kind of got thrown to the wind, huh? Surveil. Nothing in there. Plains, I'll let go. Don't really need to find lands now. I will attack. Nothing to really bring back here. I'm just attacking to gain life. Maybe they'll Lightning Strike it here. Witch Stalker Frenzy. Okay. Decline. Wait, could I have paid that and brought Zoraline back? Wait a minute. I'm pretty sure I could have done that. That's whack. Why they have stuff in hand?
Have things we'd rather forget.
What? You know, the problem with that, right, is like, sure, that was an obvious play.
You won't be outsmarting.
But the problem is, it also wasn't that obvious of a play, right? Because that never happens. Like, why would Mono Red ever let me attack with that? They would just normally tap out, use their mana. They had the mana to do it. It's not like they needed the reduction. Mono Red, you gonna find a creature or what? I even have to go for the throat ready. Turn. Good, good. I can bring another Liliana back. I can let my go for the throat go, which then I can divide their mana in half. But like, that's not why Liliana's good. Let's play a creature. Let's see if they remove it again with the trigger on the stack, so I can reanimate it, please. I will do it this time. All right, so I am going to look because I'm paying this cost. I want to know. Let's auto pay because there's a cool little trick. Enter the graveyard this turn. You can bring back the one that died if they remove it that way. Why? One goes first. I have a lot of cards and 3 mana being my top end. This is a good hand to keep. We just have to find a land. Aries? Like, actually? Leave on top, implying that maybe I don't know. I don't know what they are. We'll allow 1 damage to happen to see if something like a Tiny Bones comes in that we need to remove instead, you know. Our deck cares about the graveyard. Tiny Bones cares about our graveyard. All fine and dandy. I'll play land. I'll Deep-Cavern Bat. Take a look. Got down Virtue and Liliana, huh? I would like their Liliana to have to minus here to get my Deep-Cavern Bat out of the way. So that allows our preachers and stuff to live for a turn. Minus, get your Virtue back. The preachers are also too big for the virtues to work. And we hit a land perfectly. Nice. So this is here. Now if they minus on this, we're good. There's a Gix. They're going to fly. They're going to do some combat stuff. I'm going to go for the throw this Gix out of the way. And then remove the Liliana from my game. Hopefully. Each player discards a card.
Overthink things.
Pretty sure, I suppose. Being at 17 is weird. Let's do this. Second preacher on top. Liliana will be gone. Go for a throw at this. They have a virtue in hand. Sure. This will attack Lily, removing it. They can't make me sack, and now we have this like kind of awkward game. For virtue's not necessarily the best thing of all time. They play another land. Sure. I will play X, I guess. Attack. Make a 1/1. Make contact. Draw a card. Now they can virtue my Gix, which is fine. But I develop my board. Get the virtue out of the way. Could have maybe just played the other preacher, but not sold. That's great. Five, 6. The Gix. They have Gix. They have Lilianas. They have Tiny Bones. Guess I go to combat here. Attack. Make another token. Make a little dude. Make a little doodad. And then just play Zoraline. This is 1 mana, and I could always pest control it, but like, not really about that. These are also not bats, so it's not like this matters. This will just get a swamp, I suppose. Black. Sure. Could have made a white. Big Stubby. I thought about just cycling this, but if I did a white, I could have done the virtue. Let's just cycle here. Deck thinning before potentially playing a virtue seems kind of whack. But they hit the land anyway, so it doesn't matter. But now, what? I hit a land. What can they possibly bring back that matters? X's. They're looking at my graveyard. They're like, look, dude, I get to do sweet stuff. Leave me alone, bro. I got nothing going on. I guess it's a combat time. Sinners. I'll just decline. We'll see where they block. They block Zoraline, sure. Alright. Compete with this. Played a virtue. I played a virtue. We'll play the game. Because here's the thing, right? I do have a Lily, so they do have to find another creature to protect it. Hey, what about a second preacher? That's really funny. Do I have a thing to bring back? I can bring back Gix. So I can play Liliana, bring back Gix, and just attack out and then put like 30 cards in my hand. Because I am kind of at a safe... Oh, I'm really safe. I thought I was lower. But I'm at a really, really safe life total against my opponent. So I'm just immediately going to do everything I need to. Very cool. Very, very sick. All right. Well, I mean, we made a couple of changes. Not entirely sold as changes were the best of all time, but I wanted to keep trying new things. And the streak continues. I think the deck's just really solid. So one of the things we put in is we tried Disfigure over Cut Down just to kind of make things a little bit smaller. Cut Down at this point with a lot of 3/2s is kind of like... Toughness is always 2, and if it's ever any higher than 2, the toughness, that is, most likely Cut Down can't kill it anyway. So this figure can kind of shrink down creatures and cause less damage when we're talking about like heart, fire, duelist, and stuff like that. And we don't necessarily have exile spells outside of just like the ones that care about a lot of planes being played, or just like Elspeth Smite, which then gains our opponent some life. Not necessarily that upset about playing Elspeth Smites. Maybe we'll opt to go to that here later at some point. But with our deck being a lot of black sources, doing the Elspeth Smite as a 1 mana spell gets a little tough sometimes, because we do want to prioritize and grabbing a swamp if it's off of Fable Passage, because as you can see, double black, double black, double black, double black. This doesn't even count, I guess, but our kind of double white sources start happening at the 4 mana slot, where black mana spells are oftentimes going to be our 1 mana and our 2 mana removal. Now, if we were playing like Get Lost in this spot, then I would probably most likely play Elspeth Smites, so you can consider that if that's really where you want to go. But I do like playing Go for the Throats a lot. Synthesizer decks haven't been that crazy, at least for me right now. And oftentimes we can kind of rush out, potentially, as long as we don't get Go for the Throats stacked in our hand along with cutdowns. But I will take the oddball synthesizer deck every now and then over the a lot of red decks that are always in our face and trying to beat us up. So other than that, I mean, 3 continues, deck still continues to perform well. We went X-1 today. I don't know how many games we end up playing, but immediately after the game, you saw that I could not find a land. I then did the opposite, you know, in typical arena fashion. All I did was draw lands, and then I just never could stop a thing and died. So it was, again, another kind of awkward game after, which I didn't feel like was necessarily that great to show, because at 25 lands, flooding is not really going to happen all too often. So, very cool. We'll take that. And with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.